In the News Center, I'm Stephen Stone. Duke Energy officials preparing the Robinson nuclear plant in Hartsville for emergencies ahead of hurricane season with more than 300 people working daily at the plant. The team's been validating equipment, ensuring necessary supplies are on hand, and practicing preparation procedures. The plant's designed to withstand severe weather and winds up to 300 miles per hour. They have backup systems in place. The site provides power to around 700,000 customers, and in the event of a power outage, Duke Energy will dispatch line crews to restore power promptly. Prices at the gas pump are jumping ahead of this week's 4th of July holiday. AAA reporting the average price for a gallon of gasoline in our state is now at $3.19 a gallon. That's nearly 10 cents more than last week. It's still well below the national average of $3.49 a gallon. Drivers in Rock Hill are seeing the lowest prices at $3.12 a gallon, while the highest prices can be found in the Hilton Head Bluffton area at $3.29 a gallon. For more details on these and other stories, visit our website, WRHI.com. In the News Center, I'm Stephen Stone.
WRHI Rock Hill, W261CY Rock Hill. Good pharmacy. Rock Hill's hometown pharmacy for over 60 years. Camden Avenue at Ebenezer Road. Straight Talk on WRHI FM 100.1 and CN2 is presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now here's Manning Kimmel broadcasting live from Substation 2 on Cherry Road in Rock Hill with Straight Talk, selected by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association as the state's top public affairs program.
And a good afternoon. Welcome into Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop for another edition of our Straight Talk program, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Our thanks to our co-sponsor today, Caporium, your friendly neighborhood tech giant. Piedmont Medical Center is with us today, a community built on care, and you can find out more about them online at PiedmontMedicalCenter.com. Now, you know, Straight Talk has been on the air 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year for 39 3/4 years. That is thousands and thousands and thousands of topics. One topic we have never had until today is about Bigfoot. And we have got a real certified Bigfoot researcher, a fellow by the name of Terry Windell, who lives right here in Rock Hill, who is going to talk to us about Bigfoot. But before we get into that, tell me about Terry.
All right. Well, I am Terry Windell, otherwise known on social media as Rock Hill Bigfoot. I have lived in Rock Hill most of my life, and I got interested in Bigfoot sometime back in my childhood. This goes way, way back. This is before I knew what Bigfoot was. So, you know, I guess I'll just jump in on this.
Now, keep in mind now, we're not talking about the Loch Ness Monster. We're talking about Bigfoot.
You're correct. You are correct. I'm going to tell you straight up front, I have seen things and experienced things in the woods that if I hadn't been there to see it, I wouldn't believe me either. So it's no problem if people don't believe in Bigfoot or believe me. I have no problem with that. Doesn't mean we can't still be friends, go to Substation 2 and share a number 19 on Sweet Week.
So we are trying, I mean, Bigfoot has been portrayed by so many films, TV shows, what have you, as this great big hairy monster that has feet as big as this table. Is there really, I mean, nobody's seen Bigfoot.
Oh, yes they have.
So what is the proper description?
Well, there are as many opinions of what Bigfoot is as there are people to have opinions. What I'm going to tell you is based on my experience. It may sound a little weird. That's okay. Again, only about 10 to 13% of the people in the United States believe that there is something called Bigfoot. So I'm in the minority as it is, and I'm okay with that. I have Native American friends who, every Native American nation has a legend about Bigfoot. It may not be called Bigfoot. It may be the hairy man in the woods. It may be, all kinds of different things, including the Catawba Indian Nation. There is a word for Bigfoot. I don't know what that word is. It's kind of a tribal thing, and you have to learn to respect tribal customs. There are some things that we don't get told, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. But here's my take on what Bigfoot is after talking with Native American friends and being in the woods. I think Bigfoot is a type of people. They're like us in some ways. They're not like us in a lot of other ways. Now, what are they exactly? I have no idea. That's why I'm out in the woods doing what I'm doing. I have questions. I want answers. I do believe they live in some type of clan, family structure, something, pack, call it what you want. There are reports of small Bigfoot, adolescent, juvenile Bigfoot. A lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people still think, oh, there's just one Bigfoot and he just wanders around out in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. I used to think that before I understood what was going on. There are estimates of populations of Bigfoot. Now, these are based on statistics from black bear sightings and black bear stuff. I've seen statistics for population in the United States for anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands.
Huh.
I think they are somewhat territorial. I think they migrate. And based on the evidence that I see and the people that I talk to, that seems to hold true. So, again, none of us really know what Bigfoot is until Mr. Bigfoot walks out of the woods one day and goes, hey, Terry, come over here a minute. Listen, my people have decided that it's time to tell you guys about it, so if you'll just get set up over there to film this, then, I'm just going to hang out here for a minute. Until that happens, we don't really know.
But you did say that some people claim to have seen Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
Now, whatever that sum is, maybe 5 people, maybe 500 people. Is there any consensus as to what the physical appearance of this thing is?
Yes, very much so. I have several friends in the BFRO, Bigfoot Field Research Organization. They don't talk about this much, but I've got a very good friend who said, yeah, I've seen them walk across the road in broad daylight. No big deal. I've seen them. One was a large male, just gigantic. There was another that was, either a juvenile or a smaller one, which we're taking to be a juvenile. But yeah, there are plenty of people that have seen them. The descriptions, for the most part, are large, massive, hairy creatures, little to no neck, huge shoulders and torso. The arms are different proportions than our arms are. They're a little bit longer. They don't match the proportions of human anatomy.
Right.
There's a guy who's he's done a lot of research on this called Thinker Thunker. He has what he's designed or come up with called proportional DNA, where he matches up if it's a guy in a suit, the proportions won't match true Bigfoot proportions, torso to limbs to legs to head. So there's something going on. I have never seen one in broad daylight. Just full disclaimer here. I have seen shadowy outlines of large somethings walking through my camp one night with glowing eyes. I've seen things at a distance that I can't say 100%, yeah, that's what that was. But the areas that I have been in have a high percentage of Bigfoot sightings. So to me, and there are misidentifications. There are people who see bears, and if you see a bear and it startles you in the woods, the bear's trying to get away, and usually the Bigfoot is doing the same thing. If you walk around the corner and, there's one sitting on the trail, first thing that's going to happen is he's probably going to try and get away from you. They don't want contact with us for the most part. So there are misidentifications. But
as far-fetched as this sounds, the reality is that there are certain tribes of people that have recently been discovered by National Geographic and others who are very much back in the Stone Ages, who know nothing about modern-day society.
Correct.
Who live just the way our ancestors lived thousands and thousands of years ago. I mean, they're documented, pictures there, I mean, the whole thing. So for those who might be skeptical, why not? I mean,
there is precedence.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I have a good friend who is not a real solid believer, but he tolerates me being around and tolerates me talking about it. He's a good guy. We had a conversation one time about the world in general, and I'm talking about geographically.
Right.
And his comment was, well, you know, we can see anything with Google, and we got satellites, and we can map all this stuff, and so there's never been any evidence of it. And I said, well, number one, there have been some sightings that have been picked up on Google Earth. They're not definitive, so I can't say anything about that. But have you ever seen Canada? Have you ever been to Canada? Have you been to New York? New York State. Everybody thinks about New York City when you talk about New York State. New York, the state, has places that I guarantee you a human foot has not trod on yet. Canada, Alaska, are you kidding me? There's places up there that no one has gone to.
So these sightings that have been reported of Bigfoot, they've been primarily in areas like you just described, out in the middle of nowhere, places where people camp or go hunting or what have you. You're not going to see them here in downtown Rock Hill.
Probably not. It is surprising, though. They go where they want to. I had somebody ask me at a convention I was speaking at, well, where do they go? How do they get around? Well, they go where they want to, and that's about the best way I can explain it. They have been seen at dumpsters on the outskirts of cities, raiding dumpsters. Anytime a new development goes in that's on the fringes of a large city that's around some wooded area, a lot of times they'll pour the streets and get all the curb and gutters in, and they've still got mud on the streets. You'll find large barefoot footprints walking around out there. We're gradually encroaching on some of their territories. So I doubt we're going to see one here at Substation. If we do, you guys please call me. I'll come in immediately, but I doubt we're going to see anything like that. But it is surprising, some of the witness reports that I have talked to, the eyewitness accounts, how little cover they really need.
So Bigfoot and his people there have been sightings, but there's never really been an encounter. Is that right? An encounter whereby two people sat and looked at each other and said, "What are you?" and "What are you?" Any verbal contact at all?
Well, not exactly, but kinda. This gets into something. I have never had this happen to me. So, but I'm gonna talk about this, and there's gonna be people that roll their eyes about this. There are people that say there's a thing called mind speak, where Bigfoot can somehow, some way, telepathically speak to you in your head. Now, I have never had this happen personally, but I have only lived in this one head for all of my life. I don't know what goes on in your head. So if you tell me that, you know, how do I know? I'm trusting, and there are some people that, you know, will just tell you anything. But there are some people that I know really well who say that's happened to them. Now, how that happens, I have no idea. Again, I have never had that happen to me. But one of the things I've learned is you still need to be skeptical and analytical, but you don't want to poo-poo anything or close off anything, because you might miss a piece of the puzzle that you need to figure out what this really is. So I always try and at least listen respectfully to anyone, because you never know what tidbit you're going to get out of this that will be the aha moment.
So you personally are part of an organization called what? Bigfoot Researcher?
No, I am an independent, what's called an independent field researcher.
Okay.
And I will tell you this also, not trying to throw any shade on anybody. The TV Bigfoot stuff that you see, TV Bigfoot is not Bigfoot. TV Bigfoot is about TV. Finding Bigfoot was never intended to find Bigfoot. Finding Bigfoot was about looking for Bigfoot. The same with a couple of other series that are out there. If they found him, show's over. Everybody goes home. They're out of work. That's not how TV works. And one of my very, very first, what I'll call official Bigfoot research trips was up in the mountains of North Carolina. And I went up there having no clue what was going on. I realized I'm at a point in my life, I got some time, I need to figure out what happened to me on my grandmother's farm all these years ago. So I have no clue what to do. I have no clue where to look. Let me see if I can find some people who are doing this that are nearby me, and I can vouch that they're not like crazed axe murderers or anything, and maybe they'll let me hang out with them a little bit. Well, long story short, I ended up finding a couple of guys that said, yeah, come on, hang out with us. So we're up sitting around, we're in a campsite, public campsite, up in the mountains of North Carolina. I'm sitting there, sun's going down, and I'm going, okay, when do we start? And one of the guys said, we already did. I said, what do you mean? He said, we're doing it. I said, when do we get all geared up and go walk around in the dark with the cameras and all this stuff? And he said, no, you don't do that. You'll break a leg doing that. You'll step in a gopher hole. That's what they do on TV. We sit. We talk. We laugh. We sit around the campfire. If they're here, they'll find you if they're interested. And they did. That encounter, my very first one, we had a rock thrown into our campsite. You can go on my social media. There's a couple of videos about it, and you'll see the rock. I usually carry it with me, so it's kind of a keepsake. But they were able to recover that rock. They saw the rock come in on FLIR, and it was white hot because someone had been holding it apparently. They saw it land on the ground. They were able to walk in, one of the other people that was there, on the rock and recover it, and I have that rock.
Jeez.
What else in the woods of North America throws rocks besides us?
All right, so you go off periodically.
Yes,
different
often
places.
as I can.
Okay. And you take your wife with you? Is it just the two of you? Or is it just you by yourself, or what?
Mostly it's me by myself or with a couple of other folks that I've met that I'm good friends with. Now, I love my wife. I got to tell you, she puts up with me doing this. I have a wonderful wife. She's been with me a couple of times, but it's not really her thing. She just goes, basically she likes camping in the woods. Right. And truly, this is what I call camping with a purpose. Right. You go, you camp, nothing happens. You had a good time hanging out in the woods. So most of the time, I'm either solo by myself or I'm with a couple of other people that I know and trust really well.
And you go up there for the express purpose of trying to see if you can find Bigfoot or any evidence of Bigfoot. Did you walk around up there? Did you just sit around the campfire and drink a beer, wait for something to happen?
During the day, you walk around, kind of look at the area, see if there's any evidence that might be unusual. And you kind of learn things to look for. It's interesting. And, people talk about structures, Bigfoot built structures. Nature can do some amazing things on her own. So you have to be careful when you're looking at stuff like that. And you start realizing what to look for. Did it take hands to make this? That's kind of what it comes down to. We typically don't drink when we're doing this because as a researcher, the first thing the skeptics are going to say is, oh, you were hanging out drunk up there and had, So we
take Diet Coke with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We typically don't hoax or joke. I'm not gonna hang out with anybody that's gonna pop out in a gorilla mask and go ha ha ha, because again, somebody finds that in the back of your SUV, your credibility's blown.
And do you record what you're doing?
Yes, very much. I do that as often as possible. I don't put a lot of stuff up on my social media anymore. A lot of it is mainly just like a vlog for me to keep the facts that I bump into documented so that I don't let anything fall out of the story or creep into the story. Human beings are notoriously horrible data recorders. I mean, our brains just will add stuff in, take stuff out that didn't happen. That's why police officers and detectives have to go through so much training before they're allowed to investigate a crime scene.
Sure. All right, we're going to have to take our mid-program break. Remind you that you are listening to Straight Talk, live from Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax here with Founders. And by Comporium, your friendly neighborhood tech giant. Good Pharmacy is with us, your hometown pharmacy. Ebenezer Road at Camden Avenue in Rock Hill. Well, here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop, you know what we do out here? Hey, over there. We prepare fresh subs and salads, and we do it 6 days a week, right? That's why people keep coming back here. The magical formula is in the white letters, and at the count of three, we're all going to say it together. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3.
Slice, slice, slice. Garden, garden, garden.
Back after these words.
If it's 12:30, it's Straight Talk on WRHI and CN2.
Have you ever wondered why so many people enjoy dining at Substation 2?
Substation 2 is excellent. It's fresh. The buns just feel like they came out of the oven, and you can't beat the deli meat.
I'm Charlie Ruffalo, and I guarantee you'll feel the same way after eating here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop.
If your primary care physician has recommended surgery for a medical condition and non-invasive medical treatments are not an option, you may want to talk to your surgeon about new, less invasive surgical techniques. At Piedmont Medical Center, we use Da Vinci Robotic Surgery, a robot-assisted system controlled by your surgeon designed to allow for greater surgical precision during many general, GYN, and urology procedures that potentially offers you a quicker recovery. Learn more online at PiedmontMedicalCenter.com. Piedmont Medical Center, a community built on care.
When disaster strikes, one of the most important things is getting life back to normal. A little compassion can go a long way. Paul Davis is here for you. Paul Davis is committed to handling any property damage with exceptional care because what we do is about more than property. It's about people. We have the training and expertise necessary to completely restore your property fast. For all your cleanup and restoration needs, call the experts at Paul Davis Restoration at 329-1140 or find us online at pauldavisrockhill.com.
Now, parts of Western York County can enjoy Comporium's advanced internet technology every day. Thanks to the partnership between Comporium and York Electric Cooperative, parts of Western York County now have access to Comporium fiber technology that gives you the ability to stream, download, search, and conference quickly and reliably. Not only is Comporium fiber fast, it's also affordable, starting at just $49.99 per month with no connection fee. For details, go online to comporium.link/YEC to sign up for Comporium high-speed internet today.
Relax this summer with a promotional rate on select travel purchases with your Founders Federal Credit Union credit card. Now through August 31st, get 6.99% APR for 6 months on qualifying purchases, including airfare, hotels, restaurants, and cruise lines. Don't let interest rates slow you down this summer. Visit foundersfcu.com/travel to learn more. On March 1st, 2025, the promotional APR will revert to the effective APRs previously disclosed. Call 800-845-1614 for details about credit costs and terms. Membership qualification required.
There are lots of reasons why people like dining at Substation 2.
I like the lunch special pricing.
I like the bread, good prices, and location.
Man, it's just utterly delicious.
I'm Charlie Ruffalo, and I guarantee you'll feel the same way after eating here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop.
Straight Talk on WRHI FM 100.1 and CN2 is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders.
And back we are here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop. And as I mentioned at the outset of the program, we have never in 39 3/4 years done a program on Bigfoot. But guess what we're doing today? A program on Bigfoot. Terry Windell is with us today. He lives here in Rock Hill, been here most of his life. A Bigfoot researcher. So there is no national organization of Bigfoot people, or
There is. There are several on different levels. I kind of prefer to be independent because a lot of those organizations, it gets messy. That's the easiest way I can put it. It gets messy, and I will speak at. I've been asked to speak at conferences, Bigfoot conferences, and festivals. I do podcasts when asked. If anybody's interested, you find me on www.rockhillbigfoot.com. You can get to all my social media there. There's not a lot up on my social media right now. Mostly I'm in the field, and if I'm in the field, it's hard to edit stuff. And if I'm at home editing, I'm not in the field. So it's a double-edged sword.
So when you say editing, are you editing just your own experiences, or you editing stuff that you're picking up from others? No,
it's my stuff, and I've got footage. Good heavens, I can't tell you how much footage I've got. But again, I mainly use that as a vlog for me to keep the facts and everything consistent. So don't judge me too much if I don't have a lot of video up there. It's just because I haven't gotten to it yet.
So when you go off to certain parts of the country, particularly out in the woody areas, you're going to see vendors who are selling Bigfoot T-shirts.
Oh, yes.
Is that just something they're doing on their own to make a buck?
A lot of people do that to finance their, I'm not going to use the word addiction, but to finance their hobby. They sell merch. I don't. But, yeah, you can go to festivals all over the place. There's a couple of good ones, if I get a chance here, I'll mention.
Go ahead. You got it.
The next, and I'll be speaking at this one, the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. It is in Westminster, South Carolina. It's just a short couple hours drive down I-85 from here. And it is on Friday and Saturday, October the 11th and 12th. So that's a fun one if you've never been before and you just kind of want to go and say and look and see what is this Bigfoot thing. That's a fun one. There is a new one that doesn't have a name yet. It's a conference, which is a little different. I'll be speaking at in Marion, North Carolina on Saturday, October the 26th. And I don't really know the format for that yet. I've just been invited to that one. But again, you just check my social media and you can find out where I am. But I tend to do this on my own or with individuals that I've come to know and trust. You don't want to just go wandering in the woods with anybody. So when you go to speak, you're just basically talking about my experiences,
your own experiences,
answering questions. People are incredibly curious about Bigfoot. It's amazing. 30 or 40 years ago, you wouldn't talk about this in public. I wouldn't be on this radio station. You wouldn't have had me on this radio station because people would look at you and go, well, you're crazy, and I don't want to deal with you. There's no such thing. You didn't talk about it. Now, as things have progressed, people have gotten more and more curious. Opinions have changed. There is evidence that has been building up that there is something there. We don't know exactly what, but there is something there.
I would imagine that social media has had a lot to do with the popularity of Bigfoot, getting more and more people interested in what the heck this thing is.
Oh, very much. It's so much easier now. Back growing up on my grandmother's farm, we didn't have Google. We had these things called books that you had to go check out at the library and read. And there were only maybe 2 or 3 of those because it just wasn't a thing. Now with social media and Google, you can find all kinds of information. Now you have to be careful who you listen to. And again, I'm not going to throw shade on anybody, but just go with your gut, trust your heart, and you'll end up where you need to be.
So if somebody is listening in this program and they're saying, this guy you're talking to, man, he is nuts. He just, what the heck? He's just crazy. And you had an opportunity for them to sit out here and you just talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Why would somebody want to think twice about thinking somebody's nuts because of this thing called Bigfoot?
Right. Well, first of all, if you've not been exposed to this and not had things happen to you like I have, this sounds nuts. I understand that completely. I have no problem with somebody thinking I'm nuts. But don't close off. Like I said earlier, don't poo-poo things without first giving it a look. I can tell you things you won't believe me because, like I said earlier, if I hadn't been there and seen it, I wouldn't believe me either. But over time, if you start looking, there is evidence of something in our woods in North America and all over the world. And this goes back to before history even. If this is a hoax, this is the most longest-lived, well-perpetrated hoax in the history of history.
Give me one example. We got about a minute and a half left in the show. Give me one example of stuff that you have seen.
I've had one walk up behind my tent in Georgia and poke me in the shoulder through my tent wall.
Oh my God!
It was not a stick. It was not a dog's nose. It was a finger about the size of a broom handle. I could feel the nail in the back of the finger. In the finger, I heard him walk up behind my tent. This was in North Georgia, and I research all over Alabama, North Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. But I heard him walk up. I heard him sigh. I never heard him leave.
Wow. More information very quickly. Where can people find out more about this?
www.rockhillbigfoot.com. That'll get you to me, my social media. Just check me out.
Terry Windell, thank you for being with us today, and very interesting program about Bigfoot.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here.
And that's going to wrap up our Straight Talk program live from Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop, presented by Founders Federal Credit Union, Relax Here with Founders, and by Comporium, your friendly neighborhood tech giant. Okay, one more time for the masses out there on this 4th of July holiday weekend, which is here, particularly this table over here that's not paying attention. We do fresh subs and salads, and we do them 6 days a week. You can help out, too. We're going to read the white letters together at the count of 3. How do we do what we do here at Substation 2? 1, 2, 3. Slice, slice,
slice. Garden, garden, garden.
Well done, gang. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We'll see you on the other side. Bye.
South Carolina's most honored radio station. News Talk 100.1 WRHI Rock Hill. W261CY Rock Hill. The voice of York County.
An OTS media station.